Hey, what is going on, you guys? Canadian Lego Show here, back again with another video. My chair is falling out of my way. And let's just start this video off with a quote. And that quote is from a show called The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. And it says, this isn't the exact quote, but I couldn't find like an actual document, like actual quote. I didn't feel like going through the entire friggin' episode to find it. And it says, is Star Wars a Knights in Shining Armor toy? The quote is basically, is Star Wars a Knights in Shining Armor toy, or is it a Modern Warfare toy? This is the key to it all, in my opinion, because we have seen time and time again that people say LEGO refuses to make prequel sets for no reason, even though it's making them money. Now, I myself have said this a couple times. But there's a big reason, and it relates all to this quote. The original trilogy and the sequels are very clear-cut, good versus evil. And if you look at most of the sets, like most of the original trilogy, not most of, but if you look at original trilogy sets, and if you look at sequel sets, there's a lot of non-war, how do I explain? Basically, there's less obvious military there, and this is, okay, I'm wearing a hoodie that literally just says Army on it. I like history, I'm a military guy. I've mentioned this before. Now, what happens is, you get to the prequels, and let's just go to one of the most beloved Clone Wars sets out there, the 2008 gunship. Not much wrong about this. Nobody's ever complained about the set existing. Now, right, it's a pretty cool looking set, but it's from the prequels. The thing about the prequels is the good versus evil not only is less evident, like it's not as clear-cut, it's sort of like this shade of gray. It is a large-scale conflict with consequences. Now, yes, LEGO made the friggin' Death Star, which blew up Alderaan and killed billions of people. In 1977, that was a clear symbol of these are the bad guys, and we have to fight them. Luke Skywalker hops in his X-Wing, and then he's flying around, pew, pew, it's exciting. It's good versus evil. It's action, and the good guys win. Fast forward to 2002. We have a Republic gunship flying through the air, carrying slave soldiers to fight large corporations because they are separating from the main government because they want to have their own confederacy, if you will. The good versus evil is so much less clear-cut, and the conflict turns from a, sci-fi, action-packed Knights in Shining Armor, which I'll use the analogy quite a bit. Basically what I mean is Knights in Shining Armor is, here's Luke Skywalker, and he's gonna fight Darth Vader with his lightsaber, and in the background, the Battle of Yavin is going on, Yes, they made the Super Star Destroyer, which is a battleship. Yes, they made Death Star, which is a super weapon. They've made Star Destroyers, which are, again, battleships. But the thing about of the prequels is the Clone Wars is very close to an actual, war on Earth, because anybody who also cares for history knows this looks just like a Hind Russian attack chopper, carries troops into battle, it, flies around. Any Generation Tech fans, I'm sure there's some Generation Tech fans watching, some of the 4 people watching this video, I'm sure there's Generation Tech fans out there, and they've seen Alan's video, or Ben or Alan, they both made videos on this, talking about the modeled, ships. This, I'm a Vietnam War movie guy. I love the Vietnam War movies. They're all really good. And he says, if you're a Black Hawk Down guy, you see this is like a Black Hawks, dropping troops into Somalia. If you're a Vietnam War guy like myself, you see this, this is the Huey that carries, Colonel Moore and all of his men in. I love the movie We Were Soldiers. It's a fantastic movie. So it's more of a military, thing. And look at them. What are the most beloved prequels? Just give me a few. MTT, troop carrier, gunship. It's a gunship. Right there in the name. Vendor, battleship. Yes, I actually might not include the Vendor in this because it is, again, similar to the Star Destroyer. It's just, different color and it's better in every single way. And if anybody says that it has less cannons, Yes, but we don't use battleships here on Earth. We use aircraft carriers, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Turbo tank. I'm just looking around my collection here. Gunship, turbo tank, UCS gunship. We've got all kinds of more military-centric vehicles that they made when the movie came out, and that's it. Now, yes, people do. I bet you if you showed somebody a vendor and then a Star Destroyer, they're gonna know what the Star Destroyer is. But at that price point, everybody knows, what they're buying. Nobody bought the gunship just at like its, price range just because I want something to build. This is an actual set that you have to care about Star Wars to buy. I don't think anybody, if you want to build something, don't buy Star Wars because they are a very expensive line due to licensing. Like, if you look on Lego.com, for 700 pieces, it's like $50 US, maybe $70 Canadian, and like, what do you get for $70 in Star Wars? You get peanuts is what you get. You get half a General Grievous Starfighter. What do you get for $70 in City, or what do you get for $70 in Technic? And something actually decent. You get for $40, I believe it is. You get the Komatsu Excavator, which is like an $80, which would be $80 in Star Wars, or $100. It's almost like the Bad Batch shuttle size. Just looking at it from a basic size point. I think yes, the Bad Batch shuttle is a small set, but it's not important. The reason Lego doesn't make prequel sets as often, and I covered this in a video before, just Lego bias against prequel sets, is because of two reasons. I hate to say this.
Don't you say it, Ricky. These colors don't rhyme.
But they're...
Don't say it. Yeah, not gonna say it. No.
Not as iconic as, say, the Millennium Falcon. But, again, there's another argument to be made of, again, I literally just said this, that, if you're going to buy a set that's 180 Canadian dollars, you're going to know what you're buying. You're going to watch all the Star Wars movies. Also, the second reason is it's an obvious militant conflict. Like, again, Revenge of the Sith. If you've seen M&R's latest video, somebody asked, the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith comes up in 4 years. What can we expect to see from that? Well, here's the thing. One of the most beloved Revenge of the Sith sets. Let's just go off the top of my head. Why did the Tri-Fighter come to my head first? But let's just go to some popular Revenge of the Sith sets. Tri-Fighter, military fighter. There was no guns. Turbo tank. Just tank. Wookiee catamaran. Alright, it's not that bad. It's a very Knights in Shining Armor-esque vehicle. It's just like a mythical thing. Swamp Speeder, again, doesn't really count. All of them... Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself, but most of the most popular Star Wars sets are military vehicles because, if you look at it, the reason that sets were old before is because Lego kind of lost their moral compass. I believe that it's ridiculous that they won't make military vehicles. There's a huge market there, and they're a business. And yes, a business needs to have morals. For example, I believe that most businesses should be slightly environmentally conscious. I mean, if we live here, can't make money in 10 years if the planet's a big pile of ash. But I believe that a company should put, like, the big, issues. Like, a company can't just, obviously issues like, racism and climate change and whatnot. Obviously, those go ahead of profit. And then you have profit, and then you have, like, we won't make war toys, we won't make, this, we won't make that, we won't sell this because it has some negative connotations, we're not going to sell Richard Nixon action figure. Yes, new from Hasbro, Richard Nixon action figure, big hit. Anyway, again, losing track of what's important here. Because look at Indiana Jones, they made, like, military planes. And now we got the V-22 Osprey getting canceled. What the hell's happening there? But once they sort of got a grip a bit more on their moral compass, and it's also when, what comes in then? Sequels. 2015, The Force Awakens comes out. We get Force Awakens sets. I believe that from 2015 to 2000 and when Rise of Skywalker come out? 2019? Yeah, 2019. They should have been making sequel sets. And I hate to say it because I do not enjoy the sequel sets that much because my favorite sequel set's got to be just Poe's X-Wing right up front, the orange and white one. I love that set. It's fantastic. I own it. And maybe the Resistance Bomber, one of the two. But now, again, we have all of the shows coming out, and we do have, again, people look at 2005. Look at all of the prequel sets we got. Well, I mean, the movie came out in 2005. And then, not only that, you are at, because let's just say that there's two categories for prequel sets. You've got, you've got episode 1 sets, you've got basically the MTT and the AAT, only good episode 1 sets, maybe the Naboo Starfighter. And then you've got all ATTE, gunship, dropship, Venator, turbo tank, Arc 170. You've got all of the better sets. So what happens there is you've got, okay, so let's just, let's just group them all together. You've got prequels and an original trilogy. I'm going to include Clone Wars in the prequels, and I'll give Rebels to the original trilogy. And then you've got the sequels. Now you've got the sequels. Before, you didn't have the sequels. In, 2008, 2009, you had Clone Wars coming out. 2010, there was more prequel content. But now that the sequel's there, it sort of balances out, because in 2014, right, we were still getting a decent amount of prequel sets. And then the problem is, LEGO has this number of original trilogy sets that they've lowered slightly, and then they took some of the prequel set slots, gave them to the sequels. Now, what's interesting now is The Mandalorian comes along and all these shows. And I don't think they're going to take another cut from the prequels and the thing, because of what happened with the UCS gunship, which is interesting. UCS gunship might be a turning point in the struggle between the fans versus the designers, because it's like the peak of we want this, and they didn't make it because they made the 501st Battle Pack and they made the gunship, but that was voted. And they've dug themselves in this hole. And they could keep digging, but I don't think they want to do, because soon if they keep digging, they're going to start losing profit. And